Good morning, everybody. My name is Beth Searle. I'm the president and CEO of the National Organization on Disability. Happy New Year. We're excited to welcome you to our Leadership Council open house and to tell you really a lot about what we have planned for 2026. We have given our Leadership Council value proposition and offerings a true overhaul. And we have developed levels for different kinds of organizations. We're focusing really on the corporate offerings today. We'll allude to some of the others, but we'll be following up with you all on some of the other offerings. And basically, we've made a lot of changes for the new year. We're excited to share them with you. We hope your new year is off to a great start. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my beloved colleague, Charles Catherine, who is going to
Thank,
lead you through the presentation.
thank you, Beth, and really a pleasure to be here with everyone. I was looking at the list of our SVPs, and we have really people from many different types of organizations, and we hope this presentation will be relevant to all of you. But personally, I see it as a great sign of success because we're trying to diversify our offer. We're trying to speak to different audiences, and so again, it's a pleasure to be with you all today. So, as Beth mentioned, I am Charles Catherine. My real name is Charles-Édouard Catherine Darro, but Charles Catherine is easier on this side of the pond. I grew up in France, but I am now a French and US citizen. I'm the VP for Corporate and Government Relations at NOD. I am a white man in my 30s. I'm growing a beard that I think has some white now in it because of my two children, probably, but also just of my age. I oversee the work that we do through the Leadership Council, which will be the point of emphasis today. And we will explore together really what the Leadership Council is and how it helps accelerate disability inclusion for many different types of organizations. We're going to go over some of the benefits that we're adding this year. As Beth mentioned, we're really updating our value proposition. And we'll talk about things like Enable Learning, our new learning platform, the hiring support that we can provide, and even executive coaching. We'll give you quickly some examples of how organizations use our support and the resources we have to strengthen their culture, build talent pipelines, and build accountability as well. Um, as we all know, disability inclusion drives innovation, expand access to talent, and really strengthens overall performance. And so, we hope that today you get an intro, just not just to NOD, but also to the people behind NOD, and see how we can each support your initiatives. And so, this is a very informal event. We hope that you can each unmute yourselves if you have any questions or comments. Uh, and thank you for all the kind messages that I'm seeing in the chat already. And so you can jump in really anytime, and feel free to stop us. Before I pass it over to Paulina, I just wanted to share that I am one of our disability inclusion specialists, so one of the people interacting with companies through the Leadership Council. I have RP, so I have lived experience. I lost my sight as a teenager. I grew up visually impaired. Um, and what I enjoy doing most with companies is supporting employee resource groups, helping people tell their stories. I have a lot of experience through adaptive sports, and now I am the captain of a men's blind soccer team for Team USA. And through that story, I'm able to talk about disability in a different way, right? And help stories come out also for employee resource groups and really just again bringing the people behind all this important work. And so, Paulina, I'd love to hear from you because you also have a really interesting story and different perspective.
Thank you, Charles. It's great to meet you all. My name is Paulina Romero. I work as Senior Partnerships Manager at NOD. And one of the biggest things that I do is partner with our partner companies to support their disability inclusion efforts. I have myself a number of disabilities that started when I was very young. About 10 years old was when I was first diagnosed, and that means that I have gone both through the education system and, of course, the workplace having a disability. I would definitely say that it has drastically shaped my life and my interest. And it is certainly one of the reasons that I am at NOD today, and feel very lucky to work with companies such as yourself that care about disability inclusion and improving the space and the systems for people with disabilities rather than asking people to fit the current structures. My biggest interest is probably data and research, supporting our companies with developing their plans based on data. And that is something that I bring to all of my relationships, but certainly also strive to be flexible and meet our companies where they are. I'll pass it over to Margaret.
Thank you, Paulina. Good day, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Margaret Ling. I'm an Asian female of Chinese descent. I have long black hair past my shoulders. And I would just like to say, I'm also the senior partner manager. I've been with NOD for 9 years, and the work and the mission at NOD is really personal for all three of us. As you heard from Charles and Paulina, their own personal disability. I myself is a little bit different because I learned about my disability as an adult in my late 20s and up into 40s. I'm middle aged now, and I'm really learning about my disability and how to really work through it, not just on the personal level, but also in the workspace. So we bring a lot of information and drawing on personal experiences to the support that we provide for all of our leadership councils that we work with. So I myself have multiple disabilities, including physical, mental, and learning disability as a person of the neurodivergent community. I'm sure you've heard a lot about people who have ADHD, autism. A lot of companies have been hiring candidates on the autism spectrum because they're hearing about it. And we really want to demystify disability and ADHD, diversity to everybody that we work with. To help us get to know you a little bit more, if you can join us, we have a few poll questions and we would love to hear from you. So please feel free to join using slido.com, entering code number 34219726. Or if you want to scan with your phone, feel free to scan right now. And just know that the platform is fully accessible both online and on your phone.
And while people do that, Margaret, I just wanted to address a question I saw in the chat. We have someone from New York Roadrunners, and this was a pivotal time for me when I started running. When I lost my sight, I went into a depression, and physical activity was a big way out of it. And I am in New York, and New York Roadrunners were the first races I did were put on by Roadrunners, and so. Yeah, a big story there, and happy to connect afterwards. But really, really glad to hear that you're here today. And back to you, Margaret.
Thank you, Charles. So if we can go to the next slide. We would like to know, are you exploring disability inclusion for the first time? So a lot of companies might be in different phases in terms of their disability journey. So we want to get a quick sense of how much information you do know. Okay, we're seeing a lot of people who have some familiarity with their disability inclusion works within their company. So I'm going to give a few more seconds for everybody to participate, to sign in and participate. So we're seeing 75% of our audience members, 80% right now, that have done work in terms of disability inclusion, with 10% saying yes, and some that are possibly learning about it for the first time. Thank you for sharing, everybody.
And if you have trouble with the QR code, there is a link in the chat that will take you to that page as well on your computer.
Thank you for that, Charles. And if we go to the next slide, we would like to understand what topics regarding our Leadership Council are you most interested in learning about? We asked this question because disability inclusion really touches so many parts of your organization. We've mentioned talent acquisition, there's HR, leadership, technology, accommodations, accessibility, and most importantly, your corporate culture. So many companies are really trying to navigate through the whole disability inclusion narrative internally. So, okay, we're seeing you want to learn about everything. Talent acquisition is something that is on top of mind for a lot of people. Wow, this word cloud is so live. I get to see all of the different responses. Accommodations is something that's mentioned. Getting more involved with the disability and community. That's always wonderful. The intersection with race and disability. ERGs, BRGs, learning about guides, away from networking. These are all great answers. As you see, you all have a thirst for knowledge in every topic that background. And let's proceed to the next poll question. What stage of the disability journey is your company currently in? Are you curious? Are you a beginner? Are you in the mid ground, or I would say those who are further along in their journey? I call them black belts because they're like leaning towards expert. They really understand and how to navigate this conversation. So let's see where everybody is. We're seeing a number of people who have intermediate information. Wow. And some beginners. That is great to know. A lot of people have started on their disability journey. I'm going to give a few more seconds for anybody who wants to chime in. Okay, thank you. So we have about half of everybody here have been working on their disability inclusion, where there are some that are still in their beginning phases, and we have a few people who are in the black belt community. That's wonderful. So everybody is here to really learn about our Leadership Council and why does a disability inclusion topic really matter now? We like to think about disability inclusion as a must in terms of your operation. It really sits in the intersection of talent. And right now in the phase of where we are, talent shortage and the race for talent is really something that's top of mind for HR. And then workforce retention. People with disability has a longer tenure in terms of staying with a company that is fully supportive of them. And there's also the legal and reputational risk of not having a disability inclusive culture. With the rapid changes in accessibility and going beyond physical workplace, there's a lot of discussions of how do we make sure everything is accommodating for a person in terms of the technology you use, and especially with AI advancing so rapidly in the past year. And so we know that nearly 1 in 4 adults in the US have a disability, and many of them are not visible. All of my disabilities that I mentioned are not visible to anybody. So when I'm meeting them for the first time, they might not be aware. So that means disability touches everybody within your workforce, and your numbers in terms of self-ID might not reflect it, but they are there within your community. So we want to make sure that everybody who works with us can eliminate their turnover, have a higher engagement, and they have a strong pipeline for bringing new talent into their workforce. So if everybody is here to really understand what is our Leadership Council. So if you're joining us to learn more about it, you were wondering, what exactly is your Leadership Council membership, or LC? It's really a community of employers who partner with our specialists. So you met Charles, you met Paulina, and myself. We're really here to support you in advancing disability inclusion as a business strategy, not just to meet your compliancy requirements. As a member, you can get a lot of information, disability-specific expertise, as well as peer-driven learnings. We have discussions among our leaderships council members, so you can learn from one another. And it's a great practice. Somebody who is not as far along in their disability journey can learn from somebody who is on the next levels up. And we're really action oriented. We don't think about this just as a discussion. We really want everybody involved from the higher level, from the executive through our roundtables to understanding your workforce and your talent strategies. So you see all of the different members that are part of our Leadership Council now, and you can see that they span different industries from financial to technical, healthcare, consumer services, and even manufacturing. And many of those are Fortune 500 companies, and some of them even have a global reach.
Yeah.
They all have one thing in common. Yes, Charles.
Now, I just wanted to pause here to say that this reflects our historical focus on larger organizations. And we hope actually to see more diversity moving forward in terms of smaller businesses, maybe more nonprofits, by adjusting our offering. And so I just wanted to make sure people understood that as we move forward in the presentation.
That's 100% correct, because the commonality that we all have today on this call is that we recognize disability touches every part of our workforce, and that crosses all level, whether you're small or size, medium or a large firm. And that's really what makes NOD unique in the way that we work with everybody that would be here today. Firstly, disability is our sole focus, and we don't focus on any one specific disability. We treat them all the same way. And we like to say that we are disability agnostic. And we also offer different levels of services. And I would love to introduce you to what we have in terms of our membership benefits. And I'm turning it over to Paulina to give you more information.
Thank you, Margaret. You also made me realize that I forgot to describe myself briefly. So I will say I am a Mexican woman. I do have light skin though, and shoulder length brown hair. I have a brown sweater as well today, and I have my NOD blue background. Um, the slides are gone, I think. Do we still have those?
Yes, we're pulling that up right now for you.
Perfect, thank you. I will start off by saying that essentially, really the Leadership Council is built to fill a need that companies were telling us was making it harder for you all to establish disability inclusion as a core tenet of your work. So disability is a difficult segment of diversity in that it hasn't had that strong a focus in the past. Often people don't focus entirely on disability inclusion. It is just a small part of what they do. And that means that having an external support system that only focuses on disability and can do some of the work with you, take some of that work off your plate, can be really helpful. As Charles and Margaret mentioned, we are really focusing on expanding it and making it easier for more companies to take advantage of the things that we offer. So to that goal, we have 4 levels for the Leadership Council going into 2026. So the first 2 are for large corporates. So that is the regular and premium levels at $30,000 and $50,000. But we also have a level for medium-sized companies, companies between 250 and 2,000 employees, and for small businesses. So any small business with up to 250 employees. They all offer different services that we believe are the best support for what you need, but we want you to know that we are very flexible and we're here to make it work for you. So if you're interested and just wanted to understand a little bit better, please do reach out and we'll want to
Yeah.
talk through that with you.
And Paulina, there's a question about, let's say you have an ERG, doesn't have a budget yet, you're not quite ready as an organization to move fully into a relationship with NOD. There are other ways, right? Other than the LC to work with us. And we have some resources that are free for all. We have webinars, we have events. And so we'd be happy to be in touch because obviously we're mission driven and we want to help people that are committed to this work.
Thank you. Thank you, Charles. We have a number of buckets that we focus our benefits under. If we can move to the next slide. So you will see us going into the expert consulting that we provide, talent acquisition support, learning and engagement, resources, community building, and reputational benefits. Unfortunately, we have too many benefits to cover today, but I will cover the big ones that companies tend to bring up the most. Just know that there's going to be a follow-up afterwards where you'll be able to see all of the things that we offer in addition to what we'll be able to cover today. If we could move to the next slide. The biggest thing under the expert consulting bucket is that extension to your team. So it is a dedicated disability inclusion specialist, and they are there to support you with whatever your needs are. So you can reach out to us by email, by phone. We have meetings every month where we can meet with you and really work to support what you need. We explicitly use the word extension to your team to really denote that we are here to do some of the work for you whenever possible. So that means some of the planning, some of the research. We know that you all are busy. You're managing a lot of things, especially in the current environment. So we want to make it as easy as possible to make change. You see that we also have things like pathways, VRG, and ERG consultation. Again, unfortunately, I can't cover those today, but just know that there's more. If we move on to the next slide. Under the talent acquisition bucket, we are featuring today our virtual career fairs. We have 2 per year, and depending on the level, you have access to 1 or 2. The virtual career fairs are really your chance to connect with people with disabilities that would be great fits for your workplace. They are tailored to support people with disabilities and reach people with disabilities. In addition to that, we of course have things like an executive search strategy session, a talent acquisition process audit. Again, all of these vary, the benefits that you have vary depending on your specific level that you end up choosing. Next slide. In the learning and engagement segment, we have quite a bit. I wish I could cover more of it. But the big one that we have here is Enable Learning. We are launching an asynchronous training platform where you will be able to learn about different aspects of disability inclusion. And as part of the Leadership Council, you get seats. So premium members get unlimited user seats, regular members get 25 user seats. And this is a great way to keep up with disability inclusion, even beyond just your DEI team, really anybody at your company that would be interested in learning more at your own pace. On the live virtual training side, this is a training that we entirely organize for you, so you don't need to be involved unless you would like to. Of course, you want to run it through legal. All of that works on our end. But the point here is that we are taking on all of the work and the training and supporting with whatever you need. So some of the examples of trainings that we have are disability awareness basics, talent acquisition, digital accessibility, and navigating the accommodation process. Additionally, the speaking engagements are very popular. These are a little bit more casual, and really it's a chance for people like Margaret, Charles, and myself to talk a little bit more about our personal experiences with disability. Those can be really popular with our companies that we work with because they're very heavy on storytelling and they really normalize the conversation around disability without having to dive too deep into a more educational setting. And of course, we have things like our monthly resources and access to our members portal. Next slide. Community and networking, as you heard us say, we refer to the Leadership Council as a community of companies. So that is something that we really care about. We focus on creating spaces for you to connect with other companies that are interested in similar things. Our main event every year is a great example of this. We have our signature event that will be happening at the beginning of October this year in New York City. And for our Leadership Council members, you have access to our exclusive pre-event. But in addition to that, we have things virtually to make it a little bit easier to join. So as an example, you have access to our leadership dialogues, which is a great chance for your leaders to join other leaders from other companies to discuss topics that would be key in what they're currently focusing on. And our quarterly impact boosts are new this year. And the most exciting thing about it is that it is a great chance for anybody that you're interested in inviting to join. This is going to be focused on very small things that everybody at your company can change to make disability, to create disability accessibility. So this is going to be a great way for a lot of people to create a lot of change instead of one person having to make a really large difference over the course of a year. A little bit quicker, a lot more people involved there, but really easy changes. Next slide. Lastly, we do have that visibility and recognition bucket. Of course, logo recognition, things like having our digital badge that you can publish on your website or on your internal reports. But we do have some premium benefits as well. So things like disability inclusion win feature, where we feature you on our website, one of the big wins that you have, or something like our interview feature, where we feature somebody from your company that is excited to discuss some of the things that they've learned about disability inclusion throughout their careers. Next slide. And really at the end of why join the Leadership Council, we are here as a nonprofit to focus entirely on making it easier for people with disabilities to not only be part of the workplace, but also thrive in the workplace. So we are here to make that easier for you. Again, take on some of that work, provide hands-on expert support, connect you with people that are also interested and working on the same things. So think of us as that extension to your team, like I said, to make things easier. And of course, again, we are very flexible. So if you're interested in something like the Leadership Council, Caroline, if your situation is a little bit more specific, as you were saying in your question earlier, we are very interested in speaking with you and talking about whatever we can do to support your current stage in your journey. Next slide. We did build some time into our open house for questions. So if you would like to ask them in the chat, or if you would like to unmute yourself and ask them out loud, you're welcome to do so. We are excited to talk about whatever is on your mind regarding the Leadership Council and NOD.
I think, Paulina, and thank you. One of the questions that comes up often early on is, and you've addressed that to a degree, but is the support that we provide mostly strategic, data-driven, or is it more tactical? What would you respond to that, Paulina?
You said, is the support that we provide more strategic or technical, right?
Yeah, or tactical, yeah.
I really cannot emphasize enough how flexible we are with where you are. So one of the first things that we do with you is really figure out where the current stage in your process. Are you more in the beginning? Are you more in the end? And what your focuses are to create impact. So I would say that the meeting you where you are is key, but really that strategic support that we're able to provide with a lot of data for me is something that can make a massive difference. I'd be curious to know, Charles, if you think that that varies a little bit with your approach.
Yeah, I think every good relationship is a sort of a long-term plan, right? And so that long-term plan, of course, has a strategic element, and that's where we begin. And I think that's where we can add a lot of value almost right away, right? Through our benchmarking tools. And then there are, I think, the moments that are the most rewarding for me is when I am able to create a moment of authenticity, right? A true connection with people. And that's very tactical. That's through conversations, that's through ERG events, etc. And I'm seeing a lot of the comments and reactions on there about ERG specifically. And I think that that's fantastic because um, again, that's where we have, I think, the most rewarding moment. So we have our colleague, Aaron, who will be in touch with everybody here and send you the deck that we covered today. For individuals who want to just stay in touch and stay engaged, absolutely. So that's not for the Leadership Council, but that will be through all the resources that we're putting out there, whether it's guides or webinars and other events that you'll be invited in. Absolutely. So glad to see that there's something for everyone, I think, out there.
One question that we got that I think would be great for you, Margaret, is do members get access to candidates directly, or is it more about strategy?
We actually do both. Through our virtual career fair, you have access to the platform we use, which is Jobs Connected. And that is where all of the candidates, whether they're currently enrolled in higher education or they have graduated a few years out and looking for new opportunities, you will have access to their full profile and be able to contact them and set up conversations and meetings with them, as well as meet during our live virtual career fair. In terms of strategies, through our monthly calls or through email, we really look into what do you want to work with? Who are some of the other organizations that you're partnering with? What are some of your strategies? And in the past, as an example, when I was working with one of my leadership council members, I looked at their recruitment steps, the actual steps that they use, and I will kind of say, hey, this area of the candidacy search is a little bit hard for me to get through as a person on the spectrum. Maybe we can tweak this because we don't want you screening any talent out from your application process or during your interview process. So that is an example of some of the things that we have done in the past.
And I just saw Beth's comment in the chat. That's also true for the learning management system, Enable Learning, the platform that we'll be launching in July. There will be individual memberships available as well. So thank you, Beth, for highlighting that.
I would say at its core, we really are more comprehensive. So talent acquisition is just part of what we do. We are not here only to really connect you directly with potential candidates, though that is something that you could access through the career fairs. It really is more about supporting you throughout the whole process. So if you're interested in having more candidates join, we can help you through the whole thing, like figuring out what about like is there something about your interview process that could be more accessible? Is there
Or even
something
the job
about
descriptions. Right?
the hiring, your job descriptions? Exactly, Charles.
Mhm.
So we're not only focusing on here's one candidate, again, though
Mhm.
that could happen through the career fairs, it's just more comprehensive than that.
And one thing you both do really well, Margaret and Paulina, I think, is training interviewers. Because with many of our partners, we've never interviewed people with certain types of disabilities, and they feel nervous. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. And often that creates such a wall, right? Such a barrier for candidates. And so by demystifying disability through those trainings, we're really able to unlock that potential, right? And bring in new talent. And so, yeah, that's another big piece of it.
Mhm. Another question that we got, Charles, I'd be curious to hear you answer it because I think it's a little bit of a understanding, maybe.
Hmm.
What types of roles typically attend from member organizations, which I think comes from the name of the council being
Yeah,
council.
that's true. And yes, so this is not just meant for CEOs and executives, right? We have people really from all over. We have typically people from the HR world or ERG leaders. And of course, that could mean people in many different types of jobs. But with some companies, because the priority can be talent acquisition, we'll have people who are, in that branch. But for some others, the priorities the accommodation process and making it, digital accessibility is a priority. And so then we talk with IT folks. So it's a very broad range, and thank you, Paulina,
Mhm.
for highlighting that.
Yeah. So we are a council, not in the sense that the main thing that we do is connect, like have a meeting where a lot of people from different companies join, but
Mhm.
rather the main thing that we do is partner directly with you to help you reach your goals. And then in addition to that, again, with a more comprehensive approach, we also connect you with other companies.
Who, for the most part, are employers of choice. They are leaders in
Mhm.
the field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One other question we got, how is the Leadership Council different from other disability inclusion memberships or certifications?
I think that's a great question, and I think for us there's a few things that make us quite unique. Number one, we are not just the Leadership Council, right? We're much more than that. We have the Enable Learning platform launching in July. We have all the advocacy work that we do and all the connections that come with that. Um, and I think we are very much a white glove service, right? We provide individual support, and we have this team, right, with you, Paulina, and Margaret, that's able to be there for you and really be an extension of your team. So I think that level of service is what makes us really unique.
Margaret, anything to add to that?
Yes, I do really like to think of Entity as more of a boutique service because,
Mhm.
as you both mentioned, we do cover so many different topics and we do work with you to focus on the area that you want to work with. Another example would be, you don't see this listed, but I have an leadership council member who wanted to start a program for neurodivergent candidates. And I worked with them to really provide them with the training and education. And I found a school to partner with them to really
Mhm.
help them curate a program and to launch a little project to bring interns from this one school to test out what their knowledge is, to really work through the kinks before they start a national program for hiring students and candidates who are on the autism spectrum, who have ADHD. So that is something that we really want to emphasize that you might be working on something and you might not know where to go for that additional information. And that's one of the strengths that Paulina has. She's really good in terms of research to try to guide you in going to the direction that brings you to your set goals.
And we have a question about nonprofits. And yes, absolutely. So and Paulina, you mentioned this in your presentation, but we are able to provide custom packages for smaller organizations and for nonprofits. So if there are specific services that are of interest, we'd be happy to have a conversation, right? And so again, everyone will be in touch and we can take it from there. But that's definitely an option.
Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Margaret. Another question that came through when you were speaking, Margaret, is do you have support for caregivers? ERG focuses or is open to both disabled employees and employee caregivers. And I would say that we have support for you to support caregivers. So we are here to help you figure out how you want to support them. And that does include some of our resources focusing on support for caregivers, benefits
Mhm.
for caregivers, things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's one great thing about our community is that if we think about people who have a disability and then people who care for people with disabilities, we cover the vast majority of the population, right? And so, yeah, that is a broad reach, and we do want to focus on all of those populations. Caroline, you have your hand up, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to chime
Yeah.
in.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. I'm the one who had the question about caregivers. So
Okay.
one of the things our ERG is looking at this year is that we want to approach HR about is caregiver leave,
Hmm.
paid
Yeah.
caregiver leave, which when I first told the rest of my group about it, they were like, thought that I was talking about the Wizard of Oz, but I think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so especially if you have information about that, that's something we are trying to pursue, but I'm
Yeah.
also the person who said, I don't know if my company's ready for this. So the ERG is sort of, we are leading the way for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're ready to we have a small budget. We're a
We
big
understand.
company, but we have a
Yeah.
very small ERG budget. Um, and we wouldn't be able to do anything else this year if we paid for the smallest membership. So,
Uh-huh.
um,
And that's a great example, right, of how to start a relationship for us. And we would be happy to first put together some resources to help you make the case internally.
great,
Um, I will say that my mother has Alzheimer's. I understand what it's like to be a caregiver and to be a full-time working parent as well, right? And understanding
right.
all the constraints that this brings into your life. So that's usually where we would start. And
Okay,
then depending on the type of support you might want after that, we would
right.
we would come up with a package.
Okay. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Mhm.
This is so great. I'm so glad I clicked register. Thank you, Will, so
Thank
much.
you. And
Thank you,
thank you for
Caroline.
unmuting yourself. This makes this meeting much more convivial and fun. So thank you. Appreciate it.
I believe we got all the questions from the chat. I'm just doing a double check. Um,
I think we're good.
I think that's all. If
Yeah.
we have any maybe final words of wisdom and
I
how
had
to,
one more question. I'm
oh, go
sorry.
ahead, Caroline.
I went on the event site, but I
Yeah.
didn't see the conference on
Okay.
there in
It's
October. Do you have a
October
date yet?
1st. Yeah, it's
October
October
1st?
1st, and it will be in New York City.
Is it just a one day?
It's afternoon and evening, yes.
Okay. Okay. October 1st, New York City. Okay.
Mhm.
Don't
Just
worry, you'll
because,
definitely get emails from us about it.
Oh yeah.
right, our professional development budget is going out soon, and I'm trying to make sure I can get to all the things, but I wasn't
Sure.
able to go last year to your thing. So I want to go this year. So do you have
Mhm.
cost information yet? Like the ticket, like if you're not a member
Not off the
yet?
top of my
No.
head, but I promise you that
Okay.
Aaron will be in touch and send
Oh,
you the
great.
costs. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I promise that individual tickets will not be prohibitively expensive.
All
Um,
right.
so we are out of time. I want to thank you all for joining us, and we will be reaching out with more information. If you have any more questions, please reach out as well. We're very excited to connect with you all. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.